All right, guys, it is Rick, and this is Rick Ginn on Flip with Rick. I know I've been out for a while, but I am here, and today we are talking all about vacant land. I'm actually really excited to because not only am I going to show you how to do wholesale vacant land, and I'm going to show you how to do it 100% for free. I'm going to show you a little trick that I've used for a long time. It's a little bit more advanced, but it's going to give you tools so you can easily find the hottest market in today's market, not yesterday, not 2021, 22. Let's talk about what's working right now. And what I'm going to do is take today. So if you guys are new to having me on here, my name is Rick. I've been doing wholesaling for 21 years now. I started back in actually early 2003, and I absolutely love it. So you have the comment section. This is the part where you introduce yourself, let us know what market you're working if you want to share that, and then find like-minded individuals that you align yourself with. Make sure you vet them. And this is the greatest place you can do it because number one, you're in a safe spot. Number two, people have the same common interests as you. And number three, maybe you can do a JV deal with someone. Maybe you're really good at finding sellers. Maybe that person's really good with buyers. That's how I started out, and I still do it today. And I share it with all you guys all over the country with sellmypaper.com, and we'll share more on that. So if you are brand new to the channel, you know where to go, but I'm going to tell you anyways. I put it in the link on the bottom right here, freewholesaling.com. Me and my son have developed a 100% all-in wholesaling course because we're tired of everyone trying to dupe people, trying to constantly take your money for such a basic life set skill like wholesaling. I decided to do it 21 years ago, and it absolutely changed my life. And if you are like me and you're looking to change, you want to become financially free and you want to become mentally free, and you want really freedom of your time, wholesaling, there is no greater gift, in my opinion. So make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com. Number two, if you want to join the live, I'm not like a techno guy, but go over to Wholesaling Houses for Real, our Facebook group, 94,000 strong. There is a link in the top section. No, I'm not going to do this for you. I know Zach does it for you. I'm not. I just, by the time I get through the screens, I waste 5 minutes doing it. Click the link there. Make sure you're a member. And on the top where it has the link to the video, you can click the StreamYard link and you can get in. I already see people getting in, so I know it works. So it's first come, first serve. I'm going to take the first hour or so. I'm going to walk you through everything on wholesaling land. And I'm going to go through grave detail today. Today, you definitely want to pay attention. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work through the tools and show you how to find these properties, how to find the demand. And I'm going to teach you simply how to go through the mechanics of doing this. And you really want to pay attention today. So as usual, if you guys are watching this for the first time or the 1,000th time, I'd love to know how you guys know how long we've been doing this because it's so funny to hear it. Make sure you smash that like button and you join the comments today. Remember, we do this all for free. I don't get in your back pocket. Everything we do at Free Wholesaling is 100% free. It's been free since day one, and I will always keep it that way because not only am I going to teach you how to do your first deal, I'll teach you how to make your first 100 grand. And don't take my word for it. Don't take Zach's word for it. We have tens of thousands of testimonials. In fact, me and Zach have done the research. We have more testimonials of success students in wholesaling than any other platform in the world. What does that tell you guys? If you can be successful without paying $10,000 fee, imagine what you can do if somebody actually goes all in and teaches you the business. Here's the secret. You actually have to do the work. So make sure you smash that like button. And for, as usual, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I can't help you out if you can't click the subscribe button. It helps other people just like yourself find people like me and Zach that are really trying to help you out. So make sure you hit that subscribe button because that helps everybody out. Now, before we get into it, you've got to have the absolute right attitude to get in this business. And if you guys don't know me, I know you guys know my son, and the apple don't fall far from the tree. I'm an excitable guy. I love high energy. I love adventure. And that's why wholesaling fits me perfect. I'm an ADHD. I admit it. All my teachers told me I would fail miserably at a job, and they were actually right. They did me a huge favor because now I don't work for anyone. I provide employment. and I can do whatever I want whenever I want. I work because I choose to, because I love what I do. And you won't find many wholesalers that have been doing this 20 plus years, because they all go into this thing called coaching because it's easy. I don't take the easy street button, man. I really enjoy working on deals, and that's why I love doing this. So you got to get up. You got to get the energy. You got to get hyped for this. I love wholesaling. It fits my personality perfect. Let's go. Let's get it going.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and they got go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
That's what I'm talking about, man. So if that resonates with you, it's a crazy video. The design is to grab your attention and kind of shake you, because most of you are walking around in the matrix and you are completely programmed like sheep, and you do what everyone else does. If you want to be the exception and not the rule, and you want to take a life in complete control, and you want to basically set up your entire future, I love wholesaling. I don't care how you found me. I don't care if you found me on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. It doesn't matter. You're here. And so while you're here, what I like to do is take a little bit of time, teach you a technique, 100% free. Don't worry. The whole thing's recorded. You can go on Flip with Rick YouTube channel and watch it 1,000 times over. So I want you to sit back, enjoy, and ask questions. That's the best way. The problem with most gurus in this business, nobody asks any questions, so you don't even know if the information's accurate that they tell you. And then if you want to do the one-on-one, get online there. So let's get into it, and let's go ahead and do this. So we're talking about land deals, and people always say, Rick, is land so much different wholesaling houses? Here's a secret. It's actually easier. Now, the margins are a little bit smaller, and most people like to do it virtually because there's only so much land in each town. And let's talk about the benefits of doing land first. And then I'm going to narrow this down. I'm going to show you how to find the deals. And I'm going to show you how to actually, you got to find where the demand is, because we match up product with demand. That's what we do. That's what a wholesaler is. You can only do that by marketing. So the first thing you have to understand is, where is the demand location? Now, I'm going to save this to the last, because I have a hack for you that's going to save you a lot of time and energy, and you don't have to even pay for it. It's absolutely free. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I've been using it actually 15 years. That's the crazy part, and it's still there. So I don't think it's going to change. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, first and foremost, what is the difference between doing land and houses? It's simple, guys. One has a piece of house on a piece of dirt, and one's just a piece of dirt. That's it. Send your $3,000. I just saved you a fortune. That's it. And the difference is, that's it. That's the only difference. Now, why is it so perfect? I've already told you right off the bat. Think about this for a second. It's absolutely perfect for virtual wholesaling. Why? You don't have to do any type of inspections. There's no tenants in there. The properties are so easy because they're vacant. And that's the attractive part of doing vacant land. And then you guys doing single family houses, tenants are a pain in the butt. Homeowners are a pain in the butt. Vacant houses are sometimes a pain in the butt, because you got to get a key. You got to get inside. You don't have to deal with that. Number two, we talked about no inspections. My God, this is huge. You don't have to walk your cash buyers through. You don't have to get some complicated home inspection report. It's the land. And here's the key is, you don't underwrite the land. It's not even your problem. You're just going to put it under contract, let them do their due diligence, and see if they want to move forward with it. There's no tenants. My God, if you deal with enough tenants, you'll figure this out. Homeowners, renters, landlords, everybody, you don't have this problem nearly as much as you do in single family houses. Every contract you do, the method I teach you today, it's assignable. Well, how is that powerful to you? Because if you're broke and you have no money, I'm going to give you a strategy where you can put a property under contract, a vacant piece of land below value, and you can sell it near or just below market value and make a beautiful spread on it. Why? Number one, here's the beauty part of this. 95% of land past the commercial development part is cash. It's cash. Why is that important to you? Number one, because you just got to find the cash buyers. And number two, it moves really fast. And number three, when you get rid of banks, everything is easier. Banks are a pain in the butt. They only give loans to people that don't need loans. And the people that really need loans, you're never going to get one. Ask me how I know this. I've been doing this 21 years. That's the reality of the situation. Now, my favorite part of land, are you ready for this? The biggest difference I find between vacant land and single family houses. You ready? There's less emotional attachment to land. People will say, "Oh, I grew up on this piece of land. I love this piece of land. I'm emotionally." They don't care. Honestly, it comes down to a number in their head. And if you check it off their box, they will sell it quickly. They never want to see you. They don't care. You wire them the cash. You go through the title company and you get your assignment fee. Now, the only down part about vacant land is that the fees are usually a little bit less and it's harder to value it. But I'm here to tell you, I'm going to simplify the process because trying to figure out a value of a piece of land is the wrong way to think about it. And I'm going to tell you why. So let me bring you. Well, let's cover another real basic here. Finding buyers. There's only two types of buyers when it comes to land. It can be raw land, semi-developed land. It could have utilities on it. Number one, they're developers. I'm going to be brutally honest with you. They're a pain in the butt. And if you don't have a reputation of dealing with developers, 9 times out of 10, they don't want to deal with you. It doesn't mean you can't sell to developers, but they are typically looking to pounce on wholesalers that just start on this. Why? They're going to have very long, lengthy contracts. They won't accept your contract. And they're going to tell you you have to actually own the property before you can sell it to them, meaning you can't do an assignment of contract. And honestly, they're professional buyers and they know how to manipulate you and drag you out. I've had developers drag me out for over a year. And I want to teach you the method where you get in and you get out all less than 30 days. That's the beauty of doing it. Developers, you're not going to get that benefit. So I'm going to actually teach you now. A small developer, if the guy's building 3 or 4 spec homes, perfect. I'm talking about, well, I'm not going to use companies' names because I'll probably get a cease and desist order as usual. So, the big builders, you know what I'm talking about. You can put them in the comments if you want. I'm not going to say it. Now, my favorite one are just what I call regular cash buyers or individuals. People that just fund it with their cash. Maybe it's a family purchase. Maybe it's an individual contractor. Find me a piece of land. I'll build you a property on it. They will typically pay you the most, and they don't care if it's assignable or not. And honestly, you want them assignable. Why? Because you don't have any money, and you don't want to buy the property yourself. So you want to make it assignable, and that's the beauty of finding these types of cash buyers. Now, I want you to also understand this. Well, Rick, if there's no inspections, how does the contract part work? Because I'm a little confused to it. It's actually very simple. You put it under contract. Now, when I say inspections, you don't have to go through an inspection because it's just raw land. And Mother Nature made it. And so unless they have some sort of environmental issue, which your buyer will do the due diligence for you, you don't do it, then you don't have to go through that. And what I always recommend to everyone is the minimum inspection period you want is 30 days. And that's usually the most you're going to get on single family homes. On vacant land, people don't really care too much. And remember, it's cash. So I have between a 30 and a 90-day inspection period minimum. Why? It's raw land. You got to and the more unique the land is, the more time you needed it. If it's an infill lot, which means basically it's the last one being developed in the area, then you could probably sell it very, very fast. But I'm here to tell you, you're going to have a long inspection period. Why? Because you need time to go out to find one of these buyers. And if you write a 2-week inspection period, and you don't have a cash buyers list and you just started it, it's going to be problematic. So shoot for 90 and don't settle for anything less than 30, because selling a raw piece of vacant land, if you have no experience in under 30 days, it's doable, but it's much more challenging. I prefer you have 45, 60, 90 days. Heck, I've gotten as long as like 180 days, depending on what type of project it is. So this is the easy part, guys. Now, before we get into it, you've got to understand the similarities between doing single family houses and doing vacant lands. The same principle exists. If you can't buy it at a discounted rate, you're just a regular retail buyer. So unless you want to go buy and spend millions and millions of dollars and tie up properties and land bank it for 10, 20 years, that's not what we do here. So the first thing we have to do, you have to seek their motivation. Why? Because the reality is I have the same mindset when I deal with single family and vacant land. If they are not motivated to sell, I don't want to spend time with you. It doesn't mean you can't put a deal together, but I don't want you scrimping to make $500 or $1,000 to call somebody 36 times to get them to sell you your vacant piece of land. In my experience, either people, sometimes they want to sell it or they don't. They're not nearly as emotionally attached to single family homes. And I love that part, but this is somewhat of a volume game. You got to find someone that just wants, okay, sometimes you just hit them at the right time and they want to sell it. So you are going to apply the exact same rules you do to single family houses, meaning if they're not motivated to sell, it means you have to talk them into it. You're probably not going to get a very good deal and you're going to waste your time. Nobody wants to work for free. So it's so important you get the right price up front. How do you do that? It's real simple. You got to look at people's want versus their need to sell. Everybody wants to sell. Everybody, 100%. You've got to go in deeper and find out the ones that need to sell. Hey, listen, I really need to sell this property. I haven't paid the taxes in the last 3 years. And the city's kind of beating me up. And honestly, I just need to move on. It's starting to stress me out. That's someone I'm going to go all in on. So many of you are out there trying to do raw land like you're realtors. I don't know about you, but unless you want to be a realtor, wholesaling vacant land, you got to find some sort of motivation. Sometimes people just want to sell. It's okay. I've owned a piece of land for 12 years and I sold it for the exact same price I buy it because it just didn't go up. And that's the weird thing about vacant land. There's no true like zestimate for it. So you do have some opportunities to make some quick cash. The secret is having a robust cash buyers list so you can find cash buyers to take advantage of the anomalies that vacant land presents you, because it's much harder to value vacant land. So guys, I'm going to get to your questions. Just keep putting them in there. I promise I'm going to get to it. Now, I want you to understand this. So we got to look at the want versus the need. I always look at this part. And if you skip this in vacant land, you're going to waste your time. Because somebody who wants tippy top dollar for their land, I'm probably not going to be your best buyer for it. And I just tell people that up front. Why? If someone wants to sell it this month and they've committed to selling it, we just got to find a number. But I can't stand when people in land, we get this all the time. Well, how much are you going to offer for me? If the price is right, I'll take it. I don't play the prices right. Bob Barker is not my friend in wholesaling, and he shouldn't be your friend either. Although I think the guy's still alive. He's amazing with what he does, but he has no place in wholesaling. Don't play the Bob Barker. If the price is right, it doesn't work. That's it. So let's dive into the two most important features you need to understand. And number one, you need to know how to value these deals. So we have to locate demand, right? So I don't care where you are. You can be in San Francisco, New York, Florida, Utah, Knoxville. You have the entire country to roam. I am never confined to my backyards. Some of the worst land deals are in Florida right now because it's very overpriced. So I don't do as much in Florida. I'll do some speculative builds that I have like a 7 to 10 year outflow, but that's not wholesaling land. When you buy land and hold it, it is not wholesaling land. It's buy on it, sit on it, and pray to God it goes up in value. Eventually it'll go up in value. The question is it going to be 3 years or is it going to be 30 years? And that's where you guys cannot play. So how do we find demand location? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a simple hack. And I'm going back old school because you know I've been doing this a long time. There is this little known technique, a company called CoreLogic. Now, before we had PropStream and Batch and all these wonderful companies, which honestly, you guys don't know how good you have it. I have to use the list source. So what I'm going to do is I still use list source to verify data, and I still buy lists from them. I know you think I'm crazy, but I've been in this business a long time. There's certain things that CoreLogic does that no other company does. And I want to go ahead and share it with you guys with your permission. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully you guys can see that. And I'm going to keep moving here. So this is list source. Don't worry. You can go in and open up your free account. There's no cost to it. And I'm going to show you the hack so you don't have to pay anything. Now, what we're going to do is we're not actually getting leads from this. We're getting data. Why do you want the data? Because we want to find out where the best demand is. So I'm going to take a random state here. Hold on. Okay, you guys can see me. So let's just pick. So you guys go in, you can sign up for a free account. Don't give them your credit card because you don't need it. And I believe they still give free accounts out. So I'm going to go down to state. Don't worry, this is recorded. And so this is old school stuff. I know I'm showing my age here, but that's part of the benefit of working with me. I'm just going to grab Tennessee. Good part. Lots of land there, I'm sure. I have no idea. I do invest in Tennessee, but I don't do land over there. Now, let's see. Now, I haven't put any criteria. So if you want to look, this is simple how you do list source. These are your criteria tabs, and you go left to right. So obviously you want to deal with mortgage. So the next one we're going to do is go to property. And then what we want to do is select the criteria type. And I'm going to go down to property type. Let's see here. You see that one? And now what we're going to do, right there, see vacant land? We're going to grab that. Now, if you notice on this side, it'll give you a running count. So basically, all the vacant land right now gives me about a 49,000K count. So that's just where we're going to start. The next one is we are now going to go back and under the property there, we are going to do the last, you can do the last market recording date. I prefer last market sale date, LMSD. Now, what we want to do is find someone that's owned the land. I like anyone before 2021 because the prices are substantially higher now. But you can adapt the filter however you want to do it. So what I'm going to do is go in here and I'll put from like 1980. I know a lot of you guys were born after that. It's no big deal. And then what I'll do is go back and change this to, at least 2 years, or maybe even do 2020 or 2021. Why? Because price valuations have really changed then, and there's plenty of opportunity. And you can click add. Now, my list is cut down to 27,000. Now, what I want to do is I want to look in. Now we're looking for demand. That's what you have to understand here. Let me go up here and put this so we don't confuse this. We're talking about demand location. So hopefully that doesn't interfere with the stat on this. Now, what I want to do, you have two choices. You can break this data down and you get as fine as you want. This is about research to find the hottest markets. Now, maybe I got a hunch Tennessee is good. I want to find out where to go. So I'm going to click the last 3 months, or sometimes I do the last 6 months. Now, if a market is dropping, which depending on what part of the country you're in, you can choose 3 months or 6 months. You could even do 12 months, but 12 months, a lot of it's old information. So once I do that, now I know a lot of you are saying, well, Rick, what about the equity percentage? Listen, land is usually paid for in cash. You're kind of wasting your time searching for any type of equity because usually it's just owned with cash or it's deeded over to people. So we have all that in there. And now let me get it thinking here. It dumped me out. Okay, I'll go through this real quick. State, sorry about this. I'll go fast. Tennessee. And then we're going to do property type. Sometimes it doesn't go as planned. This is why you know it's live. And then we're just looking for vacant land. Let's see. So I have 47,000, and then we're going to do the last market sale date. And we are going to do from, let's not go back quite as far. Let's do 1990. And then we'll go back to 2021. Now, I can go back to January 1st stuff. Does it really matter? So roughly 23.5K properties. And then what I'll do is click the last 3 months. Let's see here. Here's what we're going to do. Let's remove this. So we're looking for demand. So let's say remove. We're just going to do the last 3 months. Add. So in the last 3 months, if you look here, 653 properties. Why do you think this is significant? It's not right now. But in the last 3 months, 653 pieces of raw land have sold in the state of Tennessee. But Rick, where do I go? How do I figure it out from there? You're going to go down and click this purchase list. Don't panic. You're not getting charged. And if you never put a credit card in list source, they can't charge you. A little secret, let you know. So basically, if you were to buy this list, just so you guys see what a benefit you get with listrei.com and batch and everything, it would have cost you $114.85. But wait, there's more. Now what you're going to do is go down to partial list purchase, 653 leads. And what we're going to do is select custom. Here's the really cool part. Check this out. Now, you can break it down by county. And if you look on this, it's going to tell you where the biggest trends are in each state in the last 90 days. So if I look at this, if I'm looking in Tennessee, I'm pointing straight to Hamilton. You guys can run over there. I'm just showing you how to do the research on it. Now, a rookie stops here. I like to go deeper. And how do I like to go deeper? You can break it down to city. City's misleading a lot of times, but you see Chattanooga on there. You can break it all down. Knoxville's big. But here's where I really like to go. Get down to the zip code. And look at this. You can go extremely pinpoint and find where these properties are. 37421, 22. You got 37379, 25. I got 30 and 63. And guys, you want to talk about lasering in on trying to find where the properties are located? I don't know much about Tennessee. I think it's pretty cool, but I don't know much. I know it's good weather. It's a popular place to live, and a lot of people are migrating to me. I could go through all 50 states and do this. I'm trying to give you guys the tools so you can do this yourself. And I want you to understand, let me remove this. You can do this with any county, like any state, and just break it down. So I always start at the macro and just work your way down, and you get all the way down the zip codes. I can't get it any more exact than that for you. So let me show you another tool. And these tools are endless. You need to find the demand first before you go out and reach out and find a motivated seller of vacant land. If you don't find the demand, you are going to waste a ton of time. There is a ton of vacant land across this country. You got to go where people are migrating to and people are looking for deals to buy in there. If you drop into Kansas, the state I was born in, I only lived there 2 weeks, you're going to have a lot of rural areas that there's tons of land for sale. They'll even deed it over to you as long as you pay the taxes. But what are you going to do with that land? You can't wholesale it. And they've already land banked it for 100 years and it hasn't worked out for them. So I need you to avoid those markets at all costs. Now, let's do this. I'm going to share my screen one more time. I'm going to even simplify this even easier for you. Wait a minute. Okay, let me. Okay, let's do present. Share screen. And let's try Redfin. You ready? Now, I get nothing from Redfin. I don't get, it's just basic data. So if I'm just going to do, okay, I showed you how to use list source, 100% free. Don't give me a credit card. Doesn't cost you anything. Just replay the video and just do it exactly like I did it and get really granular, get down to it, because getting a city or a county, it doesn't really drop the pins on the map to figure it out. So on this one, if I just click buy here and land for sale, remember I'm doing demand research. Here's the really cool part. I'm not going into this real deep here, but check this out. Obviously, the east side of Tennessee is much more attractive than the west as far as land development. Now, that's just another tool you add to the arsenal. You keep stacking all these tools to find demand. And once you know where demand is, you can laser target in on the prices and everything else. And guys, I didn't even tell you, I like to keep land under 100 grand, preferably under 90 grand. So make sure you filter that out in any type of search criteria you do. So this can go on and on. These are leads you can actually do. The problem with Redfin is most of them are attributed with a realtor, which I'm not the biggest fan of, because realtors struggle just to sell houses. Selling land can even be more painful in my opinion, but that's not a diss on realtors. It's just a fact. So let me remove that from there. So if you have any questions on the demand part, now would be the time to ask, because I'm looking. Okay, let me finish up here so I can get to the live part. We're almost there, but here comes the real key part. Rick, how do I go online and find the deals now? Now I have a target laser focused area. And this is kind of in my opinion, not the easiest part, but this is where you actually take action. Listen, doing research is great. Do it at night, do it early in the morning, do it on the weekends. Don't take your busy regular time, because all it is research. It's porn outside. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to share the screen again. I know I'm sharing a lot of screens here. Hold on, I got to remove that one. Stop screen. Present. You see why I have Zach do this stuff normally? I'm a lot slower, and he's probably watching me now laughing. Oh, well. So I'm going to go into listrei.com, aka PropStream. And now you can do a deep dive, and you can use this and even go deeper. Now, obviously, you have to pay for the service. There's a 7-day free trial. You don't need it. I just showed you tools to do it without it. But let's talk about simply locating. Like, Rick, how can I go into one of these paid list sources and do it? So if we want to stick in, say, even, I don't know, Hamilton just pulled up on here. And then all you do is go on the click filter. And then all I'm looking for is, you see this quick list choices? Vacant land. I'm simplifying it even more and more every time we do this. Now, if you look on there, they got 20,000 pieces of land for sale, which sounds like really high for me. But what you have to do is go in and adjust your information. So the thing I'm going to look for is, you can adjust the years of ownership. I would do corporate owned. I would do trust. And I would even consider mix. Individuals do own land, so you can do it however you want. Just click the buttons and you have this data. And I forgot to tell you guys, on the list source, when you go in there, you have the option to export the information in an Excel file or a CSV file, and you can keep that for data. It's 100% free. Why they let this little loophole go on? They'll probably watch this video and shut it down, but use it. Honestly, it's probably the most valuable tool. I've used it to find cash buyers forever, and it's still free. And they just haven't changed it. I don't think they care. They figure if you use it, eventually you'll sign up. But remember, list source is a la carte. You got to pay for each list. So just that tiny little list I even showed you was $115. That shows you the value when you use companies like listrei.com and use batch, because it's all included up to the 10,000. But basically, you can go through these criteria. You can get a list. If you want to sort out the ones non-MLS, I just find it much easier to deal directly with the owner. So I'll put off market, and then you can go through and set ownership. If you want to make sure they own it at least a minimum 3 years. You can do that and see as the number goes down there. And then you simply export this list. And then we go to the last part. I could do these like services all day with you guys, but I can't talk to you if I do this the entire time. And I really want to talk to you guys. So let me take this off here. And so the last part is, think about this. So you find a motivated seller, you figured out the demand, you decided to cold call, you decided to text. I don't care what you decided to do, but you decided to take action. RVMs, whatever it is, just make sure it's legal in your state. And now you come down and go, Rick, how do I make an offer? Right? How do I make an offer on this stuff? I'm telling you, this is where most of you drop the ball. You guys overthink your offers, especially on land. Land is simpler than houses. You don't have to value the piece of property on there. It's just the land. Here's the secret. If it takes you more than 5 minutes to figure out a value, you're wasting your time. Why? Because you have to find people with motivation that need to sell their house that don't want to. Everybody wants to sell their house. Only few need to sell. Now remember, it's a vacant lease piece of land, so they're going to be less emotionally tied to it. A lot of times it's just purely timing. How do I make my timings perfect? Here's the cure to timing. Call or text a lot of people. Get the deepest list you possibly can and consistently make an effort 6-7 days a week. And you don't have to complicate this. You don't need dialers. You don't need all this fancy stuff. You just have to consistently reach out. But Rick, how much do I offer them? Here's the problem. Land is all over the board. So you guys know I teach the Go for No. I teach you the LAO, least allowable offer. Remember, you want to make your first offer to snuff out that motivation as fast as possible. Because remember, MCTP is not nearly as effective when you deal with land. They don't have an emotional attachment. You already know the condition of it. It's got trees, it's got grass, it's got dirt. The time frame, that's the only thing you need to figure out, and price. Time frame and price, because the motivation is going to be if they need to sell it or not. How do I know that? Making them offer. So if you think the piece of land is worth $35,000, it's real simple. Just go way below that and try to snuff out if they have interest in selling it. So if they say 35, I might say, listen, I can give you an offer of 18,000. Does that work for you? And just, I don't know, I can never take that less. I'm not going to take less than 22.5. Now, if you've done your valuations, do the number, and it's even close, you can put them on the contract over the phone. I actually send them a DocuSign, have them sign. I ask for a 90-day inspection, and then I'm going to go out and hunt for a cash buyer like my life depended on it, and I'm going to make the spread in between. That's it. Stop. If it's worth 35 grand, stop trying to make the perfect offer. 27,982. Who cares? Honestly, if they're not motivated, you're not going to get a good deal. And unless you want to make like tiny little commissions that are less than realtors, stop offering them close to retail price. You're wasting your time. And stop spending 2 hours trying to figure out a valuation of it. Here's a simple. This is the only time the 70% rule works. Don't offer more than 70% of the value that like what. So if it's 30 grand and it's 70%, offer them 21,000. Maybe add another 1,000 to it. That's why I came up with 22. It's really that simple. Why? Because if you offer them close to 33, 35, you're not going to make any money. It's just a waste of time. So unless you want to play realtor, stop trying to make the perfect offer because it doesn't exist. Use your first offer to snuff out their intent to sell the property. Now, this is different in house. People are emotionally charged with houses. I get it. So if you can build the rapport and build that conversation, that's going to be your key into making these lower offers and keeping them on the phone. And sometimes people are so detached, they don't care. And you've got to accept that and move on with it. And I'm perfectly fine with it. So don't complicate it. In my perfect world, I'd offer 50, 60%, and then I would stop at 70 and move on. But if you have a buyer already lined up and they've bought properties in that area and you've established what they're selling for, then you could be much more aggressive. But in the beginning, you don't have that option because you're brand new. Remember, you're buying these houses with little to no money of your own, and you're assigning the contract and the rights. You have to have time built into it. And here's the cool part. You can do this anywhere in the United States. I don't teach it outside the United States because the laws are very, very different. It's hard enough with the frickin' 50 states and all the different laws for closings and stuff like that. But guys, honestly, this is simple as it gets. I love raw land. To be honest with you, I didn't do it when I first started out because I just thought it was a waste of time. And boy, and I bought a lot of land that came with the property, and then I gave it away at first, and then I started figuring out how to out parcel it, how to sell it, and actually how to trying to find the value in it. And honestly, some of my biggest checks has come from land. And what I love most about land is it requires little to no capital at all. So most of these properties, I obligate them with $100 or less. That's it. And I usually keep it in escrow at my title company. And I never see the seller. I never see the buyer. And if you want to go crazy and do this virtually, it's one of the best ways to do it. In my personal opinion, I would do both. I would do vacant land and I would do single family houses. I also do multifamily too, because you need a ton of leads to get started in this business and start to make money. And you're going to cut your teeth in the first 2 years in doing this. Honestly, it's really the first year. And after that, you just go crazy with it. But I love vacant land. And it took me a while to come around to it just because honestly, I didn't understand it. And when I found out, I go, this is actually easier than houses. It's just less profitable. So I got to do more. So my average land deal is anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. I've done much bigger ones, but I'm telling you the average. And the advent of technology today to do virtual stuff, the entire country is open to you. Now, single family houses doing virtual is a little bit more challenging. There's a lot of different factors in there because sometimes you got to get boots on the ground and it's a real balancing act. And for that reason, to get land, you can just get up and running. And you've got to make sure you make your offers below what they're worth, because the worst thing you do is if a piece of land is worth 35 and you offer 33, where are you going with that? You're not going to make $1,000 or $2,000 because your buyer wants somewhat of a discount too. And my big recommendation is try to find them without realtors, because once they're on the market, they're already established and it's hard to get around that with your end buyer. So guys, that is everything I have on. That is my condensed version of wholesaling vacant land. It works. Number one, you have to find the demand. And I gave you the tools. I gave you the most specific tool. And it's 100% for free. But guys, there's Trulio, there's Zillow, there's Redfin, there's ListSource. You can use listrei.com. You can use Batch. Guys, it's endless. What I don't want you to do is spend like 5 weeks researching it. If you spend more than a couple days researching it, you're doing it wrong. It means you're scared to take the action, to actually do the actions that are actually going to make you money. And that's what you have to understand in this business. We can talk till we turn blue. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to switch it over. We're going to start talking to you guys. I got a couple questions here. I just want to let me answer it. So Mike's asking about, well, I'm not sure what that question is. So man, there's a ton of questions. You can tell them here solo today. I keep this can you just write zip code is the best way to do this. So let's just jump in. Michael, I know you've been waiting, man. What's going on? Michael, can you hear me? I can't hear you. You there? I don't know, dude. I can't hear you. I'm going to come back to you, Michael. Fix your audio. I promise I'll come right back to you. Mir, you there?
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you? Michael,
Going
I'll come
good.
back to you. Just something on your audio. Because I can hear Mir perfectly here, man. What's going on, man? How can I help you out?
Going good, my friend. I was just wanted to ask about the government lists. I've been calling them nonstop, and all I'm getting is it's confidential, it's confidential, it's confidential, and
Okay.
we're not allowed to give it to you.
So so I can only use the words you give me, okay?
Okay. Water shutoffs.
So you said the word nonstop. Describe what nonstop means to you.
Every day I call them.
Is that 24/7 or because that's what nonstop would be to me?
No, not 24/7.
So are you doing this virtually or locally?
I'm in Canada, so I'm doing it virtually.
Okay. So have you gone through freewholesaling.com?
Yeah.
And what do I say about these lists when you try to get them over the phone or email?
You say do it in person because it's better.
I get it. And I get it. You're in Canada. I get it. So you're going to have a few strikes against you. It doesn't mean it's the end of the world, but you're going to have to think a little bit differently than a lot of other people do because you're in Canada. Now, keep in mind, I have people in countries all over the world. You're not the only guy doing this, and you won't be the last one to do this. You're going to have to be much more resourceful. Your challenge is it's not a public policy issue, it's a privacy policy issue. And until you can find a way to navigate through that, they're not going to give you the list. That's just the truth. Your odds go up 50, 60% if you show up in person. I get it. You don't have that option. So what you're going to have to do is start with the list that you can win and just keep adding into it. There's some of the lists you're not going to be able to get. It's just how it works. It doesn't mean you stop there. It just means you have a roadblock and you're going to have to find a different way around it. You might have to recruit someone in a local area and give them some sort of incentive to do it for you. Find a partner in the United States. Find somebody on the stream that will help you get it. But that's just the truth of it. The water shutoff, is it a private utility company or is it public?
Public.
And their answer to you of why they won't give you the list?
Yeah, they even emailed me if you want me to read it out, like the exact
I already know what an email is going to say because they're all copy and paste.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's confidential. I don't think that's public information.
So you hear words like I don't think.
No, I don't think they say it. It's not public information. Sometimes they even act as if they don't have it.
Well, that's the job of the gatekeeper, right? So
yeah, I can't say you're lying, you know?
Yeah. So you a little bit of challenge. So you got one or two choices. You can tuck your tail in and call it a day, or you could go chase like another list. For full record, the water shutoff is probably one of the hardest lists to get. It is. It is called an earned list, and it's there for a reason because even when it's public, sometimes they decide they don't want to give you that information. Let me ask you, is it easier to say someone no via email or phone? Yes, it is. And that's what you get because they get requests all day long, and it's just easier to say no and move on with your life. You're at a bit of a challenge because where you're at, but I would just move on and find another list that you can get success with until you find a way to reverse engineer on trying to get that list. Now, here's the key. Sometimes you can get a different employee. Sometimes you can get a manager. You can't bully him. You can't make him send you the list, but you can keep asking until you get answers to hopefully get it. By the way, we deal with this all the time. I have virtual markets all over the country. I hire people and go, listen, you got to get me this list. And I give them full autonomy to do whatever they got to do legally to get the list. I can get anyone to call and request a list. You could get AI to do it for you right now. And eventually we're going to get to that level. And this is going to be much harder to do over the phone. So I would move past that list. Have you worked on any of the other government lists? Have you started with foreclosures, evictions, work your way down the probates?
I tried probates. They told me it's confidential too.
So once again, probates are probably the second hardest list to get. Why? Because they don't want to handle it. So it is public information. You have to publicly post a probate. I promise you, you're being hung up on the privacy policy. Listen, guys, this is the challenge of virtual investing. Although you can go anywhere you want in the world, you have challenges because it's easy to shut people down via phone and email. And that's the challenge. So you're going to have to fight through and find a list you can win on just because for your self-esteem. You got to get one of them. Which one do you think you can get?
Thing is, I was really bummed out about the water shut off because the guy on the other end of the call was like, nobody's ever asked me that. So I was like, oh, now I want it even more, you know?
Yeah,
But, I was gonna ask you which one's the best virtual list to get. Like,
they're all good. I'm not gonna. Honestly, the best one, if you had to put me on the spot, I would take code violation with my hand shut. Once again, that's a hard one to get virtually because everybody calls for it. So the hardest ones to get virtually, guys, is water shutoffs, hands down. Hardest one. It's like a 65% failure ratio. It's just the truth. I'm not telling you guys a course so I can tell you the truth. The next one's going to be probates because they're very sensitive about the information and a ton of people are calling for it. Number 3 is going to be code violations. Now, those are three extremely valuable lists, and you can understand the challenges in getting them. And that's the problem with it. The good news is probate, you really got to pull every week, if not month. And I get it if you can't get it. But code violations, if you could get it once a quarter, you still got a shot at it. And what was the other one we did on there? Code violations,
fire
probates.
damage.
And then, fire damage is much easier to get. You just got to be nice to firefighters. People try to run over firefighters. I don't blame them for not giving you guys the list. And by the way, fire departments aren't used to being requested that list information. So if you ask nicely and kindly, but here's the thing is I can't have you got McDonald's in Canada, right?
Yeah.
You ever walk in there? It's pretty monotonous ordering, right?
Yeah.
Give me a number 1, 2, or 3. You want it supersized, yes or no? Honestly, all those jobs are going to be replaced. So you have to do what a machine will never do. And you
Report.
have to have a conversation, try to connect. It's brutal on the phone. It's much harder, especially when you just want to get a list with them. But
I
go with
do
the
it,
ones
man.
you can win with. And then honestly, I don't really tell people you have to pay for a service, but someone like you, I would use like a listrei.com because you are geographically challenged because you can't go visit all these places.
I have it.
So start with your 10,000 and just start picking away from there. And then
I
by the
have
way,
a,
use the pre-probates works really well. I pull that every quarter.
I have a cousin, but she's not in my market. Is Washington? She's in Fairfax. I don't know if I don't
Fairfax. Is that Jersey or Virginia?
Washington, Virginia. Yeah.
I mean, just do your research. Just like I did right now, you can go into List Source 100% free and do some research. And then, guys, between Redfin, Trulia, Zillow, they'll tell you what the average price medium is on the homes. I always tell you, try to look under 400 and look for areas where you actually have a shot at being successful. If you start with $1 million homes in like DC or San Fran, it's brutal. The level of sophistication with these buyers and sellers is beyond what the average wholesaler is going to entail. That's why they bring in brokers and realtors. So be careful doing business with family because it can be challenging. So make sure you have a good relationship with your cousin.
Oh, I do. I definitely do. I just wanted to ask you if it's a good market.
You got to do that research. So I could sit here all day and go through every market. We're not going to get anything done. So the thing is, if you think the market's good, it's probably good. So go through freewholesaling.com. We teach you the average price points. You look for what's the population, what's the minimum you require. I'm testing you now.
I don't know. It's
Okay.
what 500,000?
No, okay, because you're not going to find that's a big fat population. The minimum's 50K. The
50,000.
desired is 100K.
Yeah.
400,000 or below. Go over to freewholesaling.com and just follow the matrix to find your ideal wholesaling market. And I get people all the time. I'm starting in San Francisco doing door to door. I go, honestly, you're better off just selling vacuum cleaners because you'll make more money doing that than you are in wholesaling. If you're going to do one of the more advanced high end markets with the high price points, you better make sure you are talking to everybody, and it takes years to get your feet on the ground. It's very hard because they all go through brokers and realtors because that's what all the buyers do at $1 million plus. So start with the list you can win. And then understand you have to have a conversation that no robot or no AI could ever have. I don't say ever with AI. You never know. But guys, I mean, going forward, the phone's going to get even more challenging because AI is going to be answering all the phone calls. So you have an opportunity right now. Just keep trying. Remember, it's a privacy policy, not a public policy. And the gatekeeper can do whatever they want. And that's the reality of the situation. Can you do a FOIA request? You can. But honestly, they'll just stonewall you and tie you up for months. It's just a waste of time. I used to do it a long time ago. It doesn't work anymore. They know. And honestly, they don't even really have to comply because they just bury you in paperwork. And I'm not a big fan of doing a ton of paperwork. I'd rather just go find another lead source. So,
And by me asking if it's a good market, I was wondering like legally because I know some markets require to get around the assignment contract clause. They require the.
So do me a favor, go to free wholesaling. All the information's there. You're kind of making assumptions and not you're saying about people I heard and then get the facts, stop. So there's a few states you avoid. It's all in there, especially for like a beginner. But for the most part, 98% of this country is free and clear to go on.
Yeah, this is what I'm wondering. Is that one of those states?
Which one?
Like Fairfax and Virginia?
No.
No.
But I need you to see, the thing is, here's where we all get in trouble. We take people's word for everything. I know a lot. I don't know everything. And I'm telling you, because I'm admitting to you, people who say they know everything, run from them. They're full of crap. There's no way to be an expert on all 50 states in this country, really 48 states. Actually, I've dealt in 49 states. because I've dealt with Alaska a little bit. But the reality is, look up the statutes, look up everything and verify it and do your research. Start with freewholesaling.com and work your way backwards. Talk to a title company. If you desire, you can meet with a real estate attorney and go from there. Once you have the facts, then nobody can shoot arrows into you and mess you up.
Yeah.
Because if you have facts and people go, I heard, this is what every realtor tells me, I heard you can't wholesale anymore. It's illegal. Wow, that's awesome. Hey, if you could just give me that statute and I'll withdraw my contract. It's ridiculous. I get it all day long, and you guys do too. So do your research. I will give you the information. I will point you in the right direction. But at the end, I tell everyone you have to verify the information yourself, because I'm just not an expert on every market. I'm trying to be, but I have a long way to go. And that's why I love doing deals all over the country with you guys, because I've learned something new every time. I think we're working on 7 deals right now. Now, don't keep in mind, I do my own markets, I do my virtual markets, and then we do the sellmypaper.com. I love this. Why? Because I'm a wholesaler that actually does business all over the country, and I love interacting with you guys. And I established my trust so we can do deals together. And I'm the only guy who still does 50-50. I don't take any fees off the top. And if I need to work with you, work together. If not, then but I need deals. That's how we make this work. So keep going at it with you. You have limitations being geographically, but that's the beauty of this world, is you can do business wherever you want.
Thank you, man. Thank you for everything.
Okay, bud. I'll see you. Okay. Michael, you back?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you, man. What happened?
So I was on my phone and there wasn't any audio with that. And I was also trying to be on my laptop and there wasn't good Wi-Fi connection.
I got you, man.
I guess what I get for coming to Panera. But
I got you, man. What's going on, man? What can I help you out with?
I just got a few questions about probate. So how do you find the property info of the deceased? Because all I'm ever able to find is like the PR's name and then their personal address. Like I'm never able to find like.
Okay, so how are you are you getting the information online, or are you going in person?
Yeah, I'm going to the courthouse. Well, I haven't done it yet, but when my buddy did it, that's all we got was PR and then the PR's address.
So your buddy already he's gotten the information and had success in your market, right?
Well, he didn't have success, but he pulled the list successfully.
Okay.
And I was just trying to figure out, because I know in your mailer, like we address like where the property is, like local market, or you can actually say the address, but I don't know how to get that information.
Okay, so here's the easiest way. This is the exact way I did it. Remember, wholesaling is not about like being an expert, knowing every little detail about real estate. It's actually the complete freaking opposite. You have to learn and study people. This is how it works out. So here's how I did it. This is super complicated. You might have to write this one down. When I went to the probate court, I played dumb rock, and I can be good at it. Ask my wife. Can you explain to me where I can find the PR or the executor, and how do I find this in these court documents? That's it. I had to go back 3 times to understand it. First one talked way over my head. The second one refused to help me. And the third one, I met the right lady, and she took an hour and a half and walked me through every detail I wanted. You know why? Because they are the gatekeepers of probates. They organized all the dockets. They handle all the cases. They know exactly what you're looking for. Here's the problem is most of them are trained to train lawyers and paralegals. You're not a lawyer or a paralegal. So you have to go in and just say, listen, can you just explain to me as a regular person, how do I find the PR of this case? And once you can find one and you understand it, now you know how to navigate it through. A lot of probates have these really long number codes. Yeah. There is a reason for all the codes. Once you understand the codes, you can better disseminate the information and understand it. Remember, all that person does is deal with probate stuff all day long, and a lot of them got 10, 20, 30 years experience. So go to the gatekeeper and ask them. Don't ask your buddy. Don't ask the internet, because you have over 3,500 counties in this country. I deal with 5 counties. It's a freaking nightmare from one county to the next. And I'm talking within 15, 20 miles of each other. That's just how they do it. I don't know why we don't have one conforming way to do this, but every one of them is different. And there's some counties I have to do really creative stuff to get the information. I've had to work with lawyers. I've had to work with title companies. And that's how you do it. But start with the basics so you don't complicate this. Dude, I'm a guy, like, I will bend over. Like, we have this thing where we don't want to ask directions ever. Like, even if, like, crap, I got to be there in 5 minutes. And my wife will go, we just roll down your window and ask that lady. I go, no way in hell. I ain't doing it. And you gotta so remember that part where I tell you have to lose your ego in wholesaling? This is where you just have to pull it away. You go, hey, I'm just going to ask. Just ask. Us men, we think it's weakness when we ask. And I'm just telling you, when you come from a place of trying to earn money and make things better for you, your family, and everything you're doing, ask, because it's a huge benefit. The gym's a different story. We still ask in the gym, but we don't do that. And I'm telling you, the minute I started asking, a lot of stuff came to fruition for me. So there is a time to ask and there's a time not to ask. And when you're in the probate, just ask, because it's the easiest way, in my opinion, to get this done.
And that kind of goes into my next question. Could I ask the people down there about being able to sell the property before probate's over? Because I know you talk about that a lot.
So that's not the court's job. That's not the court's job. So that is a little secret lawyers keep to themselves and basically hide it from their clients. And I've already given you the secret with it. Here's all you need to do. You need to locate the executor or the PR, and your job is to try to put an agreement together with them as soon as possible. And once you do that, then you don't need the permission for the lawyer. You just work with the title company and the seller to get done what you need to get done. Who pays who in the probate relation? Does the executor pay the lawyer, or does the lawyer pay the executor? Which one? Uh-oh. Sorry about that.
The executor pays the lawyer.
So go where the money flows, because here's the problem. If you try to go through the attorney, I tried this. It's the worst. You will never get the cooperation of the attorney unless you have a back-end relationship. The attorney goes, hey, I have someone who sells them probate quickly. Give me a contract. Then I follow the attorney's advice. But that's 20 years experience. You're not going to get that right off the bat. So if you try to tell the probate courts, they're going to that's not the probate court's just there for a process. What the seller and the buyer and the lawyer choose to do is everybody's on their own. So I'm having you fight. When a seller comes to me and go, Rick, I just want to sell this property. Why do I have to wait till the probate's over? And I just say, listen, you technically don't have to wait till it's over. You want me to show you how to do it? Now, I tell them I'm not giving them legal advice, but if we come to an agreement with a number, that's all my job is. At that point, I enter a contract. I give it to the title company, and then the title company basically tells the seller what to say to their attorney, what agreement to enter in so they can clear the title. That's it. I'm never the bearer of bad news. And then I get the attorney tries to light me up. I'll take the phone call, but once they start yelling at me or like, how dare you? I'm like, I'm not your client. I don't work for you. I don't give a crap. Here's the problem. If you have to go through the attorney, if you think a regular seller is ghosting you is bad, wait till this attorney. They will never call you back. They will drag it on forever. And how do I know? I've done hundreds and hundreds of properties and bought them well before the probate's over. I've already proven it. It's documented. You can do it. Some states have some nuances, so you have to be very specific in state. But for the most part, a probate is a conglomerate of the deceased person's, all their assets, titles, stocks, bonds, checking accounts, everything. So usually the house is the biggest asset. And for that reason, if they own that house 2 years waiting for a probate, if it took that long, they might lose $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in equity. And the law is designed to protect people against that. My number one issue when I started probates is people say, Rick, how can I sell this house now? And I go, all we need to do is if we come to an agreement on price, I will give it to the title company and they'll give instructions to your lawyer to facilitate this. Typically, once I have an agreement done, I can get it done anywhere from 30 days. If everyone's cooperative, it might take 90 days. I don't lie to them. I just tell them the truth. But here's what I do. If you let me do that, we can start the paperwork. And here's what I'll do. If I'm getting a great deal, I'll pay the closing cost if we can get this done within a reasonable amount of time. I also do like this. Hey, what if I go ahead and cut your lawn while we wait for that? What if I pay your utilities? If I'm making a ton of money, I will take a risk. And that's what I want you to understand. You can help people out. You can help keep an eye on the property. You can help clean up the property. Don't go too far with it. But I do that all the time. I cut a lady's lawn for 2 years before I bought the property. I made $110,000 left. And she goes, that's the greatest thing. Nobody ever cut the lawn. And then what she'd do is she'd wait till the lawn got like 3 feet high and then she'd get a code violation. I go, why don't I just cut the lawn for you? It was cheaper to do it that way. So I spent about $500. But I knew she was committed to me and it was a great way for me to communicate with her. So do you understand? You don't have to understand the law. You just got to
Yeah.
understand she can sell that property before the probate. It's her choice. It's his choice. If they tell me I want to sell it now, I'm going to show them how to do it and point them in the right direction. I might have to bring in a lawyer. I'm definitely bringing a title company. But dude, I had no idea what I was doing with probates. And that's the number one thing that kept me from doing probates my first 7 years. And once I figured this out is I don't need to know everything about wholesaling. I just need to know how to connect with people that really want to sell a property. And then I go get the people that are really good at doing this. And then they tell me how to get it done. And that's how I got all these skill sets to do it. Your number one job in wholesaling is locate people that are motivated to sell their properties. End of story. That's it. Do not like getting in the mechanics is not going to make you any more money. You can figure it out as you go all the time. I've done the most complicated deals to this day. I still do complicated deals. Why? Because that's where the most money is. So the more problems you solve is going to be proportionate to how much money you make in this world. So go solve a crap load of problems and a lot of things will happen in your life. Does it make sense?
Yeah, thank you. Just one more question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So, pre-probate list, would you do mailers or warm calling on those?
Warm calling is going to be a faster, effective way. But remember, pre-probate, it catches the properties that don't actually go in the probate. So it catches a big portion of properties that normally don't go through probate. Because if it's in a trust or anything like that, I think it's really unique what PropStream did. I think it's absolutely amazing. It's absolutely amazing. You understand that, you know that almost 50% of properties don't even have to go through probate because the legal entity set up. Lawyers and stuff will set up properties where they don't have to go through probate. But when there's a death certificate and a property name and they align, the data through PropStream pulls it up and you at least have a shot. And we found we're getting properties doing that. Now, I don't pull it every month. I think it's a waste of time. Sorry, PropStream. It's just the truth.
Every like 60 days, 90 days?
90 days at the most. If you're having success, go 60. But at least pull it like once a quarter and make it part of your rotation because you'll see a lot of duplicates when you go on there. But like there's a lot of properties that never enter in the probate depending on how they titled it. And what I like about the pre-probate, it triggers those like wannabe properties. And guys, who doesn't want to deal with a property that doesn't have to go through probate? It's even faster. But remember, sometimes probate is a motivating factor for people wanting to sell the property very quickly to you. The problem is they're like, well, I was told it's going to take forever. I'm like, I don't tell them it's a lie. I tell you what, I go, I have some ways to do it. And here's what you do. Before you tell them on the phone how to solve it, go, listen, why don't I just come over and take a look at the property and we can kind of talk and I have some ideas for you. I always try to do that. Now, virtually a little bit different story, but I don't want to give them all the information to have them give it to a realtor, a wholesaler, or anything like that. Yeah. And by the way, a realtor's default answer on anything probate, when the probate's done, call me and I'll list it. So by doing that strategy, you actually circumvent the realtors and you beat them to their own punch. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I'm good. I appreciate it.
Okay, Michael. I'll talk to you, man. Aaron, you there?
Oh, hey, how's it going, Rick?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. This is my second time live. I was live with Zach on Sunday. So I've been learning from you guys about a month, 2 months, and last week I made the decision, okay, I'm going to go get some lists. So I had, learned some things, and so I couldn't get the water shut off because they said, the utilities company, they said, based on some laws passed, we can't do that. So Zach helped me. He said, okay, you need to go find the utility liens, go to the county. And so I spent like this morning going from county building to city building, trying to get certain lists like pre-foreclosure, probate, utility liens. And I have something with the code violation. They just need to update the website for April because they haven't posted the April code violations. But no, I'm just I don't want to take up too much time. I'm just saying I had to submit another request because I think for the code violations I submitted that request through the city, through San Antonio. For those other stuff I may have to submit it through the county, but the websites, they look exactly the same.
Okay,
No,
Aaron,
that's
what's your question? I'm here to help you out. So I
yeah,
appreciate you
yes.
taking action, but let's get
Mhm.
to it. What can I help you out with?
No, I'm just I wanted to say like I just need the list and I'm ready to start making calls. So I like that I learned some stuff today about the vacant lots, but
Yeah, don't overthink it, man. Too many people try to write the perfect contract, get the perfect price. Vacant
yeah.
land's even more like the prices are like I've seen them swing 40, $50,000. So I'm like, get it cheap as you can. So
Hmm.
you have options. If you pay too much for it, you work for free. Who wants to work for free? I hate working for free. So the key with land is very similar to houses. Just find someone that needs to sell. By the way, everybody wants to sell. Few need to sell. If you can locate the ones that need, you will change your projection in wholesaling because most wholesalers try to force the wholesaling methodology on everybody and it doesn't work. It's like beating your head. It's terrible. It's like putting a round peg in a square hole. It's never going to fit. You can try it. It'll fit for a minute. It'll pop. It will never close. And if it does close, you're going to lose your butt.
Hmm.
So just take the advice and keep working through freewholesaling.com.
Yep.
You're doing the
Hmm.
right things. You just got to keep doing it. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's I just wanted to get your insights. I like bouncing my ideas off of someone who's doing it or knows already. So my course of action of my course of plan right now is to wait till I get that response back because I submitted a request for those lists on the county website
yeah.
this time. So
But
wait for that.
listen, don't wait. Wait for that to come in and go tack another source because it's like in the beginning you're pushing a boulder uphill. It's just how I can. A lot of people think they just take their finger and they go, I'm going to make a few phone calls and it's going to be. It's not. It's going to
Hmm.
take every muscle you got. If you've ever done CrossFit or anything, it's terrible. It's taxing. It's
Hmm.
going to take your toe muscles. It's going to take the pinky toe. It's going to take your hand. It's everything. And that's why most people can't get started in wholesaling. They go, I thought it was going to be easier. Why? Because somebody sold you a course and told you how easy it is going to be just like them.
Hmm.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
hard. But anything worthwhile is hard in life. I don't know why we've gotten away from that in this world.
Hmm.
The people that I have basically taught for free on here is I give them a simple plan. I make it very, very, very simple. And I tell them, if you do the work, you will get the reward. If you don't want to do the work, you're going to come back. You're going to give me excuses. You're going to give your wife excuses, your family excuses, and you're going to be stuck in your same old position. If you can put in the time and the effort in wholesaling, amazing things will happen in your life. If people just want to like step around it, I'm just telling you, you got to do 10 times what you're doing right now. It's just the
Yeah.
truth
Hmm.
because you have to get momentum because your self-conscious, that ego, that thing I tell you to put away is looking for validation. And the reality is you don't get the validation through your ego until you get a deal, which is the wrong way to look at it. But
Hmm.
it's the truth. And you have to go. So why not fulfill that part of your ego and go find it a deal? Because there's just something magical about when you get your first wholesale deal. Like, I knew I could do it because it validates the effort and the sweat and the tears you put into it. And you go, okay, now I just got to keep doing that over. Think
Yeah.
about the first time you ever did any type of sporting event, something that's hard. It was painful. And then when you got your first base hit, or you got your first home run, or you got your first touchdown and your first pass, you're like, or you won the track meet, like, holy crap, I get it. Remember the first day you went out for tryouts or any sporting team, anything you did, you sucked at it. And you
Mhm.
got to understand, just say, okay, I suck in the beginning. I'm going to bury my ego, but I'm going to prove my ego wrong. And that's how you have to, because your ego is constantly judging everything you do. And it's going to say, like, okay, wait for that list to come back. Go do this. You go grab a bite to eat. Dude, go all in. I'm just telling you, a lot of people like, Rick, what's it take to do what you do? Most people don't want to do it. It's just the truth. And you just got to keep going. Like, I never stopped my first 2 years. My wife thought I had a problem. And like, people don't sell that in a course to you. And that's why you have such a high failure rate in this business. So I love what you're doing. And I'm not here to talk. I'm just telling you, I got a lot of fire on your butt and you just got to keep pressing, Aaron. Get those
Yep.
lists, follow up with them and go get other lists and get
Yep.
these and get the pre-foreclosures and start whatever, do a paid list and just get momentum going.
Yep. Yeah,
People are
that's
like this. They go, well, how many phone calls do I got to make before I quit? Dude, if you're
yeah.
asking yourself that question, just quit.
Hmm.
I have no guarantees. I don't guarantee you're going to wake up tomorrow, nor am I. So let's make the best of what we have. We all going to the same, well, to a point, but we all know how life ends. So you might as well jump on the ride and just enjoy it while you can, because sitting around watching TV and Netflix all day. And remember, you got kids or a family?
2 girls and a wife.
Yeah. So I'm telling you, you can say whatever you want. Your kids watch the path you take, and that's it. And you can sit there and tell your little self-centered ego whatever you want. The reality is, you have to do it. You have to walk the walk before you tell anyone else to do. Guys, why do you think Zach's so successful when he does? A lot of it's self-driven, but he saw the time I put in, and the fruits of wholesaling is I had a terrible corporate job, guys. I hated every minute of working for corporate America to the skin of my bones. And I did everything for the company 80 hours a week. And when I left that, all I did was spend time with my kids, even when I wasn't good at wholesaling. And that allowed me to develop and spend time with my kids so they wouldn't make all the same mistakes I did. So we're all trying to make a better future for everybody. It's got to start with you. It's painful, it's uncomfortable, and it sucks in the beginning. But if you grasp that concept, if you can sacrifice 2 years, the rewards are endless. I never have to work another day in my life if I chose to do that. I go to work because I choose to do it. I do this. You guys know this. I could be making millions of dollars doing a wholesale course. Why am I not doing it? Why? Because it's ridiculous. I can do more deals with you guys. I'd rather spend time with you guys and work on deals instead of talk about theories and like BS, because most of the tactics taught in wholesaling are stuff that worked. Our market's gone up for 11 years straight. There's a rude awakening coming. It's coming. The handwriting's on the wall with the interest rates. You got banks defaulting. I think we're going to be in for a long journey here, guys. I really do. I don't know, and I'm not making a prediction, but if I was a betting man, things can't just keep going up forever. I've been doing real estate for a long time. So that's my rant. Aaron, just keep focused and keep going. And while you're waiting for one list, go work on another list.
Yep. That's what I got to figure out. I just got to figure out how to get a list. Once I get that list, I'm not afraid to call, and it's game over. Thank you.
Okay, bud. Okay, let's
foreclosures, that kind of a thing.
Okay.
Because on the free wholesaling, you have the probate letter. Then on the mailing mastery, the postcards. Because I'm not really having much luck with for sale by owner, or as far as using Zillow, and I'm not really having much luck with getting government lists. So I figure I'm just going to basically focus on PropStream. And I'm wondering if it would be better for me to just send postcards or letters to probates and pre-foreclosures instead of just trying to call them.
Well, so let's start with the first one, probates. There's two ways. There's only really 2 ways to attack a probate. There is no door knocking on probates. So you either mail them a letter, never a postcard. It does not work.
Okay.
I do not like it. Number 2, that's what I kind of call a warm call. Technically a cold call, but you got to treat it kind of like a warm call. You can't be aggressive and you can't attack. And for the longest time, I did the mail piece. Why? Honestly, it was my ego, if I got to be quite frank with you, because I felt like I was intrusive on people. I'm very respectful of people. I've been through death in my own family, like I'm sure you have, and everybody else on this live. So I got a lot of people that you don't get as much, but the reality is some people are okay with the letters. Some are okay with the cold call. So I played McDonald's, Burger King. And that's really the best way to attack it.
Yeah.
I will send a letter. The letters are really easy and it doesn't cost a lot. And there's not like a tremendous amount of leads. The downside is probates alone is hard to scale throughout the country. It's almost impossible to scale. Show me someone that scales hundreds of counties and I'll be super impressed. It's hard. You can have a company sell you leads, but usually it's garbage and trash. So I would never do probates alone. But when I do get a probate, they are phenomenal. They are high profit and they're the easiest deals we do. So I would do a McDonald's, Burger King approach. So as I always said, which one is I love? I love the quarter pounder, but I like the fries at McDonald's. And that's how you got to look at people. People get pissed off when you call them. I would never do business with someone cold call someone that recently died. Okay. I don't take it personally. I just move on.
Yeah.
They get a letter and go, how dare you write me a letter? That's so intrusive. You can piss them off both ways, but every now and then the phone calls, if they're open and receptive, the phone call works much better than the letter. A lot of the older people respect the letter and they feel it's less intrusive. And the other thing with the letter is when they're calling you, it's a good indication that there might be some motivation to work with you on it.
Okay.
Like if I get 5 phone calls on a probates, I know I'll get 1 or 2 of them. But
Okay.
I don't get 30, 40 phone calls. So if
Yeah.
I mail out 100 letters and I get 5 phone calls, I can usually pull a deal out of that. And that's how I look at it. Now, the cold calling, it's all over the place. You have no idea. But what cold calling does is it beats the guy that does the mail. So
Okay.
how do I mix it up? It's Nick. So one of them you're going to address personally, and one you're going to call from your business. That
Okay.
way, if one melts, you can deflect and go, I don't like McDonald's anyways. Their Big Macs are terrible. Or
Okay.
I hate the quarter pounder. I agree with you. Because I've met with a lot of people who go, Lamb, thank God you mail, because those guys that call, I take them off my list immediately. So that's number one. That's the best way to approach probates. The biggest key and takeaway from probates is you have to consistently stay in the game, because it doesn't cost a lot of money. You could work 2 full-time jobs and easily do probates because they call you. And most people quit probates after 30 days because they don't get an instant result. So if
Mhm.
you can find a way to stay through it
Yeah.
and give it a minimum 6 months, preferably a year, you will be very happy with the outcome. The problem is everybody wants an instant hit on probates, and it doesn't work that way. It never has. I quit twice because I didn't understand at the beginning, and somebody, a older gentleman, sat down and go, Rick, do you want to run a race or do you want to run a marathon? Do you want to win the sprint or do you want to run? Do you want to win the battle or you want to win the war? And once I just go, okay, whatever, however long it takes, I was getting 30, 40, 80, $100,000 checks. And then I was still doing my wholesaling. Don't get me wrong. But as I leveled up and I was able to talk to more people, I got even better at probates. And I've
Okay.
learned if you're extremely consistent and patient with probates, you'll do well. If you're not empathetic and you're very aggressive type, probates are tough for people like that. It's just the truth. I take my time. I'll spend an hour and a half if I have somebody on probate. I don't care. And I don't even
Okay.
talk about price on the first phone call. Why? Because I got to get them to know me
Okay.
and trust me. Because every other wholesaler attacks me. What's the least amount you'd sell it for? I don't even know you. I don't know who you are. I know, but they don't want to waste time with them. I go, probates, if I'm only going to get 5 phone calls, I don't give a crap how much time I have to spend on them. Does that answer your question for probates?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, and one thing that I've noticed with trying to get the government lists, because what I went ahead and did, let's see, how many markets did I write down? I wrote down Louisville, Macon, Georgia, whatever, however it's pronounced, just different ones. I called most of these. I called about probably, I think, 20 counties, and a lot of what I'm getting is, number one, it's they don't email the lists, any of them really. And then I did find quite a few though. They were like, oh yeah, come into the government building, we'll let you take a look at them. But I'm really struggling just getting any anything as far as like the government lists. So I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but I'm assuming that I'm doing something wrong.
Okay,
So I'm not
which
sure
list?
to
Which
focus
list is
on
it you're
yet.
talking about? I
The
missed
what?
it. Which list are we talking about?
Just any of them, like the water shutoff lists, or the probate lists, or the tax lien lists, or anything. And I'm just kind of getting stonewalled with all of them.
Correct. So how long you been wholesaling for now?
Uh, well, if I treated it consistently like a job, which I'm not, so I'm
Yeah.
still kind of dabbling, which
Okay.
I need to be a little more serious about it. Yeah.
So how much, honestly, so I'm going to get to the root of the problem here. So,
Yeah.
and I'm here to help. So
Yeah.
I understand that. So we have to be brutally honest to really
Mhm.
give the clarity of what you need to do. How much time have you spent practicing talking to people? Because you're cold calling them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And A+ for having the guts to do it, because most people won't do it.
Mhm.
So that doesn't scare you. I know that. I think you're struggling with your confidence to talk to people, because
I am, especially when I'm trying to talk with, get the lists from, you know, bureaucrats. And then
Well,
also
so-
when I
so-
sorry,
so-
I don't mean to use that as a
So are we
pejorative.
talking about getting the list or actually doing the cold calling?
Actually kind of like just basically getting the lists, because I call these places and I'm just kind of getting stonewalled.
So are you doing it virtually or locally?
I'm doing it virtually. There's nothing around me locally that can yeah.
So if you refer back to my initial conversation,
Okay.
there are challenges with it. Now you're not in a different country, so you have some advantages, but guys, the truth is it's only going to get tougher with AI because they're going to automate all their phone calls and you're never going to get a human being.
Yeah.
That's where it's all going. So if your shot to get it is now, because I'm telling you, by the end of this year, I don't think you're ever going to talk to a human at a government office again. It's just how it's going to work. I can't change that.
Yeah.
And the only thing you can do is try to use your conversation skills and understanding it's a privacy policy. It's not a public policy.
Yeah.
And the only way you do is you got to get permission from the gatekeeper. They have the key. It's up to you how you're going to get them to put it in that lock. It's challenging on the phone. It's almost impossible email. And even in person, it's 50, 60% probability. These are just the world we live in.
Yeah.
Guys, I would love to come back to 2003 when I started this. Nobody told me how to do anything. I didn't like reinvent the wheel. Like, how do I get this list? It was so painful. So like, you got to pick your pain. Would you rather have no traffic and have to figure out the roadmap yourself and you wasted a lot of time and money, or someone gives you the perfect roadmap, but you have a lot of traffic?
Yeah.
It's each their own. I can't really solve that one for you.
Yeah.
I will tell you this. You have to do what AI and no computer can ever replace you in. You have to connect with people and have a conversation with them.
Okay.
And get it. You just got it. And if that conversation didn't work, call back, get somebody else and have a different type of conversation. That's all you can do. I can't reinvent the wheel for if I could call and do it for you, I would. I could probably talk a little bit better than you because I've had practice doing it. But the reality is you just got to have a very personal conversation and you got to just put your best forward.
Okay.
And then when it doesn't work, just regroup, go chase another list, let it settle for a few days and come back to it. That's all you can do.
Do you think that like maybe should I focus on focusing on doing the prop stream stuff rather than even bothering with the government lists? Because at least then there's there is an advantageous if you're doing it virtually. You can get started using like prop stream or batch, and you'll get your 10,000 per month and still work on those government lists. Listen, there's a reason they're called earned lists because it ain't easy. And like it would be easier if you could just pay them to get it, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Eventually the government will figure that out. I'm sure they will, but it's our tax dollars. So I think that's a reasonable request. But you've got to find other ways to attack the strategy. It's like if you're going to battle and you keep coming up to the fort and they keep shooting all your soldiers with arrows, at some point you got to regroup. I go, man, we got to find another way into the fort because we're all going to get wiped out if we keep doing this, and you're not going to be in wholesaling. Yeah.
Well, and it's the thing that it kind of impressed me with was like the bigger cities like Louisville and whatnot. They were like, yeah, come into the government office. We'll let you look at the lists. But it's like, there's just no way that anybody's going to email a list. I mean, it's like trying to,
it's the United States government. Like, do I need to say more? So, okay. Somebody says on here, make your own list. Well, that's a driving for dollars, which are a little bit limited on that.
Yeah.
And, be creative. I wish I had a better answer for you, but it's just the truth. And that's where you're at. So I would do like a listrei.com or something like that. And then I wouldn't give up on the government list, but guys, when you do it virtually, it is a little bit more challenging, but sometimes, listen, guys, I've had people get in a car for me and help me do stuff, but I don't want to go on broke doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm impressed by, a lot of the people in the Facebook group who, they've been doing it for like a month or two and they already got like deals. I'm just like, ugh.
But listen, everybody's got to hear me on this. Okay.
Yeah.
Is you only compare yourself as opposed to what you did yesterday. I made this mistake in wholesaling a lot. If you're going to try to race for somebody you see on the internet, you really don't know the true story behind it.
Yeah.
And you're just looking at the win. You're not looking at the challenge they got getting there. And that's a society problem. We all want the win, but nobody they think the journey is really easy. I've never met somebody in wholesaling, for the most part, maybe a 2% exception, maybe 1%, where they had a super easy deal and it was all like, it was just beautiful. It was a dream. It doesn't work that way. The problem is you guys are sold a bunch of BS from all the coaches and gurus. Why? Because they're making millions of dollars sitting in their fancy studios. Just, hey, pay my course and then I'll give you the information. Me and Zach, for the record, are the only ones that ever stepped forward and said, here's all our information for free. And by the way, for 4 years, I've laid it out for everybody. So, I'm not here to monetize it. I'm here to actually help you guys out and do deals with it. You are going to have to fight your own journey. I get it. It's challenging. Virtual, do it. But start with the paid list and just reverse engineer the government list and just stick to it. It's not easy. And that's the big secret in wholesaling. You have to be consistent and keep going, even in spite of obstacles in front of you.
Yeah, and I really, I gotta definitely treat it like, I wish I had the kind of patience where I could just sit there and like focus on it for like 8 hours a day for like weeks at a time, but it's just, I don't have that
But
patience.
here's the key: is it's not 8 hours a day. It's getting your list, getting it, and then just ripping through them. Like,
Okay.
it's not sexy. This is not an this is not an 8 to 10 hour a day job. In the beginning, it is because you're trying to put everything together. But once you get going, the reality is most people are not more productive than 2-3 hours in a day. It's just the truth. And I don't want you to be, because you're going to be your own boss when you do it. So keep at it, Nick, and it'll come to you. Okay.
Thanks a lot. You have a great day.
Okay. See you. So guys, if you're not getting the gist of it, I want you to understand this. Wholesaling is a journey, and you're all going to have to go through the same battle. The real key part is your attitude and your intensity you're going to take to it. No one's just going to give you this. I don't care if you pay for a course, you get it for free from us, whoever you get it from. It's up to you. You got to go out there and you've got to earn it. You are the only one in control of your ship. I don't want to say I heard or I'm doing this and that. You have to make yourself accountable. So guys, if you like this information, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll be back on Thursday. Me and Zach will be here 1 p.m. Eastern time. And guys, go out and get a deal, man. I'll see you.